gentlemen, I don't know what that was. It's nostalgic November on Podzilla 1985. This is Podzilla 1985 After Dark, and we're gonna talk about some things tonight. Hey ho, my name is Shannon Young. I'm gonna be your host. With me, of course, we have the undead paladin wannabe suck a duck, Jesse Kimball.
I desperately want, because the Forsaken is my favorite race, Paladin's my favorite class. I desperately want to be able to combine the two, and I can't do it, and it makes me sad.
Well, when your powers combined, it forms Lindsay Wolfgong.
I am not as insane as Sylvanas, but I could be.
Jury's out on that one. All right, Shelby Kimball here with us tonight.
I'm married to Paladin Suck-a-Duck.
Well, Hunter, you got that?
Well, you are now. Hang on. I don't care what Jesse's name is. It's about to be Paladin Suck-a-Duck now.
Paladin Suck-a-Duck.
I got to get it out of here. So his name was Urban Tanner Vision.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Paladin Suck-a-Duck.
Urban Tanner Vision's a good one, but Paladin Suck-a-Duck.
Good one.
And Jesse is hereby beholden to, if they actually put paladins in the undead, his first paladin from the undead has to be named Suck-a-Duck.
May your firstborn be
Suck-a-Duck.
I will probably just pay the $20 or whatever to change the race of one of my other paladins.
We better change the name too, because the rule's a rule. Double H is here.
Shannon, call me Base God.
Base God.
Yeah, what do you want?
Hey, you know what's nostalgic?
November.
The introduction you did, where it sounded like we were in a WWE 2K game. Nostalgic. November.
Jesse Kimball, aka Paladin Suck-a-Duck. So tonight's draft lottery that we got going, which, by the way, I am officially going to put up the polls tomorrow. Here's why. I've had fans
all at once.
I've had fans reach out to me and say, "Hey, we'd like to vote in that poll. Where do we go?"
I told you.
Oh, no.
The incentive should be there anyway, because you've been begging for votes.
Yes,
if
well,
you want them to vote for you,
You have to put the
Shannon
poll
has not
up.
been begging for votes.
He's been
Shannon
declaring
has
victory.
already declared. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
He's
they
declared
are the
himself.
same thing.
Yes, and if
They're
I
doing the same
Entire
thing.
audience. Like, you guys already voted and I'm the winner. That's what happened.
yeah, and if it turns out I lose, it was a bullshit election. It was rigged.
There it is.
I've got some Georgia
You're gonna wait
lawmakers
until
who are going to help
January
me.
6th to talk about it.
Yes, probably break up with another girlfriend that I don't have. Anywho, so tonight's draft list, by the way, Lindsay, if you want to go ahead and tell us that real quick, because it does relate to a story that I want to talk about before we do the thing.
We are picking our favorite bands or musical artists from before we were in college.
Yes. So for me, my music is limited to the 60s and 50s.
Right around the time that people started being on TV, you're out of luck.
Yeah. Like if I can see people's knees, then I'm out. The devil
Cover
music.
those knees up if you're going to be walking around out there.
So here's somebody that was going to make my list. But due to allegations that have arisen today, he's no longer on my list.
Ooh.
And that man is Sean Puffy Combs, who today...
He's always been kind of a piece of shit. What did he do this time?
Today, you remember former big R&B singer Cassie? Remember her?
No.
God damn it.
Educate us.
Well, okay. Well, to be fair, Lindsay's said, we originally were going to do number one. What was it?
One-hit wonders.
One-hit wonders. Well, Cassie was kind of a one-hit wonder. She had a song, and I'm trying to remember what the name of Me and You. Remember the song Me and You by Cassie?
No.
It was big. It came out in 2006. It was big. Trust me, it was a big, big song. I'm a big R&B fan. This is what I listened to growing up. You're going to hear a lot of that on my list, and it was really big. Well, Cassie today accused of P. Diddy of sexual trafficking, rape, forcing her to have sex with other men while he recorded it and masturbated to it, forcing her to take drugs, beating her, choking her, threatening her life on multiple occasions. And she came out today, and I think she's filed a lawsuit against Sean P. Diddy Combs. That happened
Also, I looked
today.
at the song of I remember the beat. I didn't really remember the song that well.
You remember
but
that?
now
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I hear it now, and I get it. I'll
Yeah.
throw the link in the text. Well, that's fucked up.
Yeah. So ooh.
That's just real fucked up.
So got to take that Godzilla song off my playlist now. By
Again, as I
P.
recall,
Diddy
Fluffy's kinda,
and Jimmy Page.
he always kind of had a lot of I don't want to say allegations or like, but there was always kind of
Rumors.
a hint of like,
Yeah.
this guy's a piece of shit, right?
Right. Well,
And not he just used to be a piece of shit.
this is from the New York Times article. It said she accused Mr. Combs of rape, repeated physical abuse over a decade. In the suit filed in federal district court in Manhattan, Cassie, whose real name is Cassandra Ventura, and who had long been Mr. Combs' romantic partner, says that not long after she met him in 2005, when she was 19, he began a pattern of control and abuse that included plying her with drugs, beating her, and forcing her to have sex with a succession of male prostitutes while he filmed the encounters. In 2018, the suit says near the end of the relationship, Mr. Combs forced his way into her home and raped her. So holy shit.
Yikes.
So P. Diddy
Well,
not
every bit of that.
making my list tonight.
No.
Except my shit list.
I don't know that he ever really would have made my list, man. I remember, like, I didn't really like that I'll Be Missing You, like, when that was such a huge song.
Yeah.
That like, I guess what I'm thinking of is I know that a lot of what P. Diddy was getting shit for, or whatever the fuck he calls himself now. Right now he calls himself a lawyer from the sound of things. But anyway.
Not funny, but funny.
I remember a lot of the controversy around him was like, at what point is it no longer sampling a song and it's just out and out stealing it?
Depends how much money you can throw at the original artist.
Exactly. Because
Yeah.
I'll Be Missing You was just, I'll be watching
Every
you.
breath you take.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called Every Breath You Take. That's right.
Well, it's I'll Be Watching You. Yeah.
But the original
The song
was
is called Every Breath You Take. Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's just not. And then he would lay down the lamest, safest rap you've ever heard.
He was
over
the
it.
lamest
he's like,
rapper.
That's my song.
Yeah.
That's my song. And I'm like, it's really not, guys.
P.
I mean, it
Diddy-
is if you want to take credit for an okay thing.
P. Diddy makes Will Smith look like Tupac Shakur.
He was more, what I recall is he was more of a producer than anything.
He was an awful rapper. And he had Mace.
He's awful
Mace
rapper.
was like his guy. And Big, of course, Notorious Big. That's why he was famous, was because Notorious Big. I grew up, like, this was my shit back in the day. I grew up loving rap and R&B and hip hop, and that was my thing. And Cody, if he was here, he'd be celebrating this with me, because Cody surprisingly was also big into rap and hip hop and R&B. I liked P. Diddy back in the day because of his association with Mace and with Notorious Big. But even as a young Shannon, I knew that Puff Daddy was an awful fucking rapper. He had one rap that I thought was good. It was a song called Victory, featuring Notorious Big and Busta Rhymes. The first lyric, like the first verse that P. Diddy does in that song is good. That's the only good rap he ever did in 30, 40 years. That's it. Now let's see what this rap does to him. Jesse, go ahead.
As much as you. Now he's got a rap sheet.
I got a book coming out.
Bang, bang, bang.
I've never heard anyone say Notorious Big. And that was like...
Sure you have. Will Ferrell said it in the Coconut Bangers Ball. It's a rap.
Papa.
Everyone to the Notorious Big.
I called him Notorious
Okay,
Big.
yeah,
I called him Satchmo.
That is the one time I've heard it phrased that way. Like, it was just like, every time Shannon was talking about I'm a big fan of Notorious Big, I'm like...
Well, it's Biggie Smalls. It's not B.I.G. Smalls.
You either call him Biggie or you call him B.I.G. Like,
I call him whatever the
Notorious
fuck
Big.
I want. He's been dead for years.
I'm really going to need you to go watch that video I just dropped in the text. I can't believe
what I
that
was
we're randomly
giggling
talking
about.
about Biggie Smalls, because this fucking kid has gone viral for dancing to that song to Hypnotize, And like you watch it and go, oh, that's ridiculous. It's actually pretty good. Get up and imitate that dance. You can't do it. I know because I tried it. I busted my ass in the kitchen. I can't do it.
Boys,
Sarah will attest to this. I'm pretty sure I broke my foot.
boy, speaking of TikTok, that's another thing that I'm not going to talk about tonight.
Well, it wouldn't matter because the Guardian would just take down the video a couple days from now
They'll
and say
take it
this
down.
is where it used to be.
And then kids will be like, I've been radicalized now that I've heard Podzilla. My eyes are open. They can't take it back.
Well, I guess we know what the title of tonight's episode is.
I've been radicalized by Podzilla. He's been yelling Hezbollah for years. Then he found out what it meant. And he was like, oh, shit.
And now he's on board.
Take it back. All right. One last thing. One last thing.
If you want to see an excellent mashup with Hypnotized, somebody did a dinosaurs match.
Yes, I have seen this before, but it's been so long.
It is so good.
Oh my god, it's so clean. That's the best part.
Yes.
Like it matches up way too well.
It really does. Like I remember the dude posted it to Reddit, and he was like, "You guys have no idea how long I spent syncing up the video with the voice lines and stuff." And it's so good.
That's the plus side of puppets. You can sync them up to stuff very well.
Mm-hmm.
Shen, you gonna talk about George Santos before we leave all this behind?
I got two more things, man. Before we get to George Santos, I got to talk to Shelby specifically, resident Podzilla 1985 senior Chris Chan correspondent, Shelby Kimball. Shelby, you probably saw it. Chris Chan's back on YouTube, baby. She's back. I apologize to everyone that I offended there. One of her first videos back is called The Return of Jesus Christ Chan Sonichu Prime.
Oh my
Wow.
Is possibly going on
What's that?
behind the scenes?
Well-
Have you heard what's possibly going on behind the scenes?
No, and I want to hear that, but I do need to mention really quick that their biggest video right now is setting the record straight. There was never any sex involving me in 2021. I recently met a person that has to basically teach memes in college, and I'm wondering, they were aware of Boogie 2988 and they hate him. Fair enough. I do wonder what their thoughts are on Chris Chan. That'll be an interesting question to ask. What is potentially going on behind the scenes?
There are talks that Chris Chan might actually have a potential lover, a new lover, and this person is pulling the strings and getting her to post videos, mainly ones that are kind of like the live stream style.
Right.
And they're doing this so that they can get more money through her.
Yeah, that doesn't
Surprise.
that doesn't shock me. Yeah. In that video that they posted, the setting the record straight one, they specifically mention how they were shipped, which from what I understand, Lindsay, is a term for anime weeaboos.
I hate the term shipping.
Where they put people together, this like romantically, right?
Yes, I always preferred pairing, not shipping, but it's still it's the same fucking thing.
Chris Chan was upset that people were shipping them with a Snorlax. They actually referred to their mother as a Snorlax, which is a term that internet people use to make fun of her. So Shelby knows. That's why she's cracking up right now. You can't see it. You're not watching the camera. But yeah, so what a mess. So Puff Daddy, now a lawsuit for raping Cassie. Chris Chan's back on live stream talking about having sex with a Snorlax, and then we get the kids on TikTok are finding out who Osama bin Laden was and getting it wrong, and then George Santos, Hunter. Then George Santos.
And then George Santos. I didn't look this closely at this story earlier, but so the headline is pretty straightforward. Oh, he's not going to seek re-election. The House panel that was investigating him has found evidence of crimes. And then you skim through and you see the word OnlyFans and you go, wait a minute.
Does he have an OnlyFans or did he visit OnlyFans? Because I feel like it could go either way.
I don't know whether I should say sadly or not. It's just the latter. But he spent campaign money on it, so he might have his own soon.
Yeah. Well, so he did say today that he's not running for re-election. but
Right.
only because he's tired of getting taken down by the corrupt media every day with their facts and their research stories. He's getting sick of that shit.
How dare they confirm that I didn't play volleyball? Wasn't it?
Here's the key thing you need to know. Investigators found Mr. Santos transferred at least $200,000 to himself from Redstone through numerous transactions in 2022, so just last year, some of which was used to pay off personal credit cards and make purchases at Hermes, Sephora, and OnlyFans. So who the is he purchasing this stuff for?
I really thought you were gonna hit me with like $200,000 for OnlyFans.
For OnlyFans.
Well, the Sephora items
He had
could
a
be
pay-per-view
for people
viewing
on
party.
OnlyFans.
Well, I mean, the Hermes stuff could also be for that.
I don't know what Hermes is.
The designer brand. They make
Okay.
I think it's mostly bags, if I remember correctly, like handbags and purses
Yeah.
and stuff. I know Sarah was looking at one. It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I know they're all fancy shit that I can't afford, so I don't
It
know
looks-
what the fuck.
It looks like Hermes. Hermes. Yeah, but it's Hermes.
Mary
I'm told.
Hamas. Thanks, Australian Kmart.
No, Hammas.
Hammas.
You know, the holiday that we
Very
all celebrate
Hammas.
where we look under the ham tree every year and wait to see how many hams that Hamta Claus came and left us.
You open up the ham box and stick your hand. Wait, no.
Oh.
No, I don't like that one. All right, let's get to the draft of tonight.
Hang on.
Yeah.
I gotta go name somebody the ham box real quick.
Make it me so it's accurate. Let's
God damn it.
and look,
No, because yours is current Blood Puddle March. I like that one too much.
there's not going to be a meaner joke than last night. Shelby, do you know what I said last night that was terrible? I said we were talking about the Goofy movie, and I said I could relate. Donald Duck reminded me of my father because he had explosive anger, and after the stroke, I couldn't understand a word he said. Shelby is not laughing. Shelby is covering her face.
I think she's laughing underneath the
She's
hand.
laughing on the inside where the ham is. I don't.
Jesse, that's where the blood is supposed to be. It's on the inside.
All right, so tonight I'm going for 3 weeks in a row, baby. 3 victories in a row. We're talking about her favorite
You haven't won
artist
one victory yet.
from when we were kids, before we were
Still
18.
gaslighting you all.
Hunter, I will let you take it from here, as you are the ceremony master,
All right, so I did the randomizer.
or the master of ceremonies.
Hey, I did do that for a while. I will go ahead and drop the results of the randomizer in now so we know who's going to win. Remember, it's a snake draft style, which means whoever goes last in the first round then starts the second round. We work backwards from there, vice versa, all the way through. So here is tonight's order. We are beginning with Jesse.
Damn, I never get a good pull.
Shit. The number 1 overall pick. Ooh.
Number 1. Yeah, I'm right dead in the middle on this one. I'm a little concerned about that. Dead middle feels weird to me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like, 'cause I don't think you guys would pick a lot of mine. So I'm trying to think of what would get picked.
That's the only thing that's going to, I think, really make this particular draft more interesting, or at least interesting in a way that the other ones, different from the other ones, because the other things that we've done so far are things that are open to pretty much everything. We all have different quantifiers on this one. We all
Yes.
went to college at different times, basically.
Right.
Or approximately. So,
Yeah.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
there's one that I'm thinking of that I would love to put on it, but I didn't really start listening to it until college, so I'm not
Same.
even attempting.
that's another thing.
Yeah,
It
there's-
requires a level of honesty. Like, okay, it's great that this band existed in the 90s, but did you really listen to them when you were 8?
Because
Right.
I had
'Cause
one
if
that I
not,
still
then no.
absolutely love, but I listened to one of their songs on repeat and was aware of about 3 others, but didn't really listen to the band actively until college.
Right.
That still counts. I think that counts.
There was-
If
there's
you listen
quite
to
a
one
few.
song over and over again, I would say that counts.
And
Yeah.
I didn't get the appreciation for them till college, so I wasn't going to go that way.
Okay.
Yeah, because there was more than a few things that I was thinking of earlier that I had to think that I had to disqualify for that reason. Because despite the fact that they were like, especially like I had a '90s grunge phase like right after college, and yeah, like I can't put any of that on here. So I'm gonna make my first one that I don't think is going to make it past Lindsay and Hunter twice. And I'm gonna go with Weird Al Yankovic.
That's a good pull.
I already knew you were going to pick it, so if you were ahead of me, I wasn't even going to try. And if you want my all honesty, I really didn't really start listening to Weird Al till like college. Like I watched his videos on MTV, but I didn't like actively have any of his music.
Oh no, Weird Al is one of those people who I legitimately like would call among, if not literally, my first favorite music artist. So he would 100% have been in my top 5 somewhere.
Yeah, that's the same for me. That was the very first cassette I ever purchased. Now, for those of you people out there that don't know what a cassette is, Google it.
Oh.
But yeah, my very first cassette I ever bought was Weird Al Yankovic's Bad Hair Day.
Nice.
And yeah, it was also cassettes 2 through 4 were all Weird Al Yankovic albums that I bought on cassette.
I am almost positive we've had this conversation because I was going to say, for me, it was not my first cassette, but it was my first CD, and then my second, and then my third. Very much so. It was Bad Hair Day, Greatest Hits Volume 2. I forget what the third one was now, but definitely those two right out of the gate.
Maybe Running with Scissors.
I want to say Running with Scissors was my first CD.
That would have been later for me.
Yeah.
Running with Scissors.
But it was the next one after Bad Hair Day.
Running with Scissors was the first one I got excited about because that was the first like live music video that they played on VH1. Like they made a big deal.
Yeah.
Because that was the for the Star Wars parody,
Saga
right?
Begins. Yeah.
Saga Begins.
They made a huge deal on that one's like release and playing all of his other videos leading up to it and the behind the music and everything.
Yep. Big time.
So yeah.
Okay.
That was it.
That means I'm next.
Sorry, I would have made it past. That's not like my favorite pre-college, but real good.
Should we quickly throw in like not to make this longer than normal, but quickly throw in like from the time frame you're talking about, what's your favorite song by them?
Yes, I like that.
Oh.
Make it show. Hold on, hey, listen to this. Make it show.
Make it
show.
God.
Make it show.
Like,
what's the first one you remember being like, this is why I like this guy?
Oh man, I don't know. It had to have been Amish Paradise.
Right. That was the one. That was what got everybody to jump on that album for sure. It was the cover picture. It was the main single off of it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That was real good. But there's so
all right,
many
Lindsay, you're up. There really
are.
Man,
it's weird being at the beginning of the list. I've been at the end of the list. Actually, I've been in the exact same spot the last 2 weeks. Let's see here. I guess if we're going to play that game, I'm going to go with my first cassette tape then that was purchased on my own, which would be Ace of Base. Yeah, Ace of Base, The Sign is the album, and the song I was obsessed with on it was The Sign.
Oh, man. I'm so glad you did that because I'm not going to elucidate on this point because it's your pick, but I so fucking hate Ace of Base.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I can't stand them. Can't stand them to save my life.
I loved my dance techno.
As soon as I hear that, I'm like, I'm out. I'm done. You
don't have to explain why. You're an American.
Sarah loves them. So yeah, I'm out. I don't know if maybe I saw that one episode of Full House too many times, and that's why I just can't stand the one that Stephanie plays in the band, and like they try to play that song. And,
yep, they fail horribly.
Oh man. Anyway, Ace of Base is good. I just don't like them.
They are not.
That's all good.
Did that kill Pitch Perfect for you, Hunter? Or
no, Pitch Perfect killed Pitch Perfect for me. That's
that's fair.
Still never watched it.
I like that film.
I like that movie.
I like the people in those films.
I like the first one. I like the first one. Could have stopped after one.
The first one,
yeah.
Could have easily stopped after one and been just fine.
All right, well, that means it's my turn, and I'm definitely also going to take one that I fear will be taken by other people if I don't do this, because while Weird Al might be the first CD I purchased and very much one of the first people I was like, I definitely like this guy, I do remember pretty quickly after that going, I got to start liking some real music. Like, I'm going to be weird if I don't actually, it's Weird Al, I'm going to be weird if I don't pick like a real, and that was when my best friend handed me his Green Day cassette, the cassette of Dookie, and boy,
can we name somebody that?
That's the one I didn't get into until college. I listened
Instead
to
of
Basket
BP.
Case all the time. Senior year, we had a couple of the songs we did in choir for obviously for like senior year end stuff, but like other than that, I didn't get like attached to Green Day until college.
Green Day is the first, like, quote-unquote real band that I remember being like, oh, this is my personality now. This is who I am. The next day, I had, like, skater shoes. I had, not Jinkos, but I definitely had jeans that were bigger than they needed to be.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like, it was an overnight change. I went straight into that.
I had my brother's Jinkos, so I had original Jinkos from, because he's 14 years older than me.
I remember pretty quickly my parents were like, oh, no, he's not going to like us anymore. And I was like, no, just quietly. Like, you guys are great. But in front of my friends, I hate you. Green Day is the original, you know, I think a lot of people's introduction from the 90s in a way. I'm born in 85. I went to college in 2003. So most of my shit is going to be 90s based. I'm going to remember, like, that's when I started getting into music. That was new music at that time. For me, for what it's worth, Welcome to Paradise, I think was, and will always be my favorite Green Day song. It's just fast enough. It's just, slightly different enough from that 4-chord progression that they do for every single song to keep me, like, coming back to it regularly. I don't know. I just love this song. It's a great breakdown, a great bass breakdown. But yeah, Green Day is my first overall pick, and I feel good about it. Shannon, you're up.
Well, sir, this is not going to come as a surprise to anybody. Shannon Young, before college, had one band on repeat, nonstop.
I'm already writing it down.
Thank you. Still to this day.
Starts with the letter B.
It does. I still listen to them today. I listen to them. In fact, I listened to them all the way home tonight. It's Bone Thugs and Harmony. Again, you're going to hear a lot of rap groups on my list because growing up, I grew up in Southern Illinois. My parents listened to country. I wanted to rebel against them, obviously. So my friend Jeff, who currently is not in jail, introduced me to rap music. We got into it around the same time, and Bone Thugs and Harmony was the first rap group I ever absolutely fell in love with. Just the dark harmony, the quick flow. There was nothing else like it. I had never heard rap like this. It was really violent and dark. It wasn't your average, like, drug dealing and stuff like that. These guys were talking about some sadistic shit, and it had a vibe to it. It had a great vibe. And what I love about them, not just them back then, but they have stayed relevant up till today. I mean, they still make music now, and they have matured so much. Their sound has matured. They have matured. They don't just, rap about killing and death and using the N-word and stuff like that over and over again. They have such a good just vibe. I keep using that word. Bone Thugs and Harmony for sure. And most people would probably say, oh, it's the Crossroads, right? That's what got everyone into Bone Thugs and Harmony. One of the biggest songs of all time. Right. But that's not what got me into Bone. I actually missed out on their first album, which was Creeping on a Come Up. I didn't listen to Bone until East 1999 Eternal. And my favorite song from that album was East 1999, E1999. If you've never heard it, I still think it's their best song they've ever done. It's dark. The imagery is incredible. It is my goal one of these days to get Crazy Bone on this show. I absolutely love their music. So yeah, Bone Thugs and Harmony is going to be my first pick. I am not worried about anyone taking any of my picks. None of them.
Did you know, I feel like you did know this probably, but I didn't know because I had to look it up as I was writing it, how specifically they stylized Bone Thugs and Harmony in terms of spelling it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so my instinct was wrong. I got most of it right. I didn't know they went thugs-n-harmony, like lowercase n. I realize now that I went the Guns N' Roses route because it was thugs apostrophe in harmony, like thugs and harmony.
Thugs and Harmony. No.
Yeah, I assumed it was
because
Guns N' Roses.
It's Bone Thugs in Harmony, and thugs, for those of you out there paying attention, stands for Trues Humbly United Gathering Souls. They have a very, very it's not gospel, but they have a very unique style to them. And again, if you've never listened to Bone Thugs and Harmony, you owe it to yourself.
I think it's as close to gospel rap as you're going to get, like in a good way. I mean,
listen to the Crossroads. I mean, the Crossroads heavily influenced by it. Yeah. Great band. Yeah. All right. I can see my time. Yeah.
All right, Shelby, you're ending round 1 and then beginning round 2. You got 2 picks in a row. What do you want to do here?
All-time favorite is what I'm actually going to start with because I refuse to let anyone else take it. It's 10 Years.
Okay. All right.
Shoot a shot because I want to now.
Like everything by 10 Years is a fucking banger. And while their newer songs, like they continue to get better, and their newer songs show that they're getting a lot better at what they're doing. Even their older songs, like the Feeding the Wolves album, is so fucking good. And that was the album that really kind of, I had listened to some of the older ones, but it was Feeding the Wolves that kept bringing me back. And then finally I was like, I have listened to this more than anything else in the last, like, honestly, month. This is probably my favorite band now. So it's kind of
cool. Hell yeah. Yeah, I can never pick 10 Years on principle because I definitely did not hear them before I was in college. I don't really remember when they started proliferating, but I remember playing them on Rage when I was in college. So don't think that would work for me, but that's a good choice. What else you got?
You gotta go twice.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. So for my second round pick, I'm gonna go Radiohead. Specifically,
also a good choice.
Yep, the Kid A album, the track Kid A, that is probably one of the best ones. I don't know. Again, Radiohead's just one of those ones where you can, in the right mood, you can like every one of their songs, and that's kind of why I like them.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys. I absolutely did not listen to Radiohead before I was in college. Now, frankly, for me, that was probably for the best because that was when they were coming out, and I was in a very, very, very different headspace at that point in time. Like when they were first coming around, I didn't start getting into them. I would say, I think Sarah really kind of introduced me into Radiohead. So you're talking about absolutely no earlier than 2006. Yeah, and even then, it took a while for me to go, okay, I could get down on this.
See, that's exactly my high school window, 2006 to 2010.
Right. Yeah, and that's a different number for the rest of us. All right, cool. Shannon, that's it.
Well,
and I will not elaborate on this.
I don't mind saying it. It's fine.
Well, I don't either, honestly. I was in high school from 99 to 2003. So
I do.
Well, you're next. So what do you got, old boy?
Here's another one that I'm absolutely sure no one's going to take from me, but let's get it out of here anyway. This is the only one that I think could even be remotely close to being stealable, and I'm still confident that it's not. It's my favorite R&B group, a group that I love, my mother loved. It was a group that we loved together, and I think they have some of the best R&B that's ever come out. They're amazing. Of course, I'm speaking about Boyz II Men.
You better be talking about Boyz II Men.
Yeah. I can't describe to you when I got the album 2 how much I played that album on repeat. I went back and listened to was it Cooley High Harmony? I might be getting that wrong. It's been a while.
No, you're right.
But 2, and then later on they had other good stuff. Unfortunately, they dropped down to a 3-person group instead of 4 because one of them had to leave the band due to health reasons. And he was the bass. He had that nice bass in his voice. I miss him. But they're great. My favorite song by them, and always will be, technically it would probably be a song for Mama, because I listened to that a lot after my mom passed away. It's one of those songs that's kind of hard to listen to because of reasons like that. But that didn't come out during that time period. During that time period, and the song that really got me into Boyz II Men was Water Runs Dry from the album 2. It's a great song. I still listen to all of Boyz II Men to this day. So it's not like I'm breaking new ground here. But yeah, Boyz II Men.
My friend Ashley introduced me to that one, and like we listened to it regularly at her house.
Oh yeah, I used to jam that back on Jesse after the cassette. They had a thing called a compact disc. And I used to listen to my compact disc all the time. It was crazy. I wore that compact disc.
One of those. Yeah, I also do want to second a song for Mama. That was as Shannon then probably does remember, the song that I danced with my mother to at my wedding.
Yes. Because it's just an amazing song. Yeah. Just an amazing song.
Yeah, that was one, like, I had to send it to her like a couple of weeks beforehand to get her prepped for it. My mom is a very emotional woman.
She probably bawled.
So she and I knew she didn't want to be just like a blubbering mess at the reception. So I sent that to her. I was like, all right, what I need you to listen to this song.
Wear this out.
I asked her if she had ever heard it. She said no. I was like, all right, you need to listen to the song and you need to desensitize yourself. And she was like, I'm halfway through it and I can't see.
When I sent my dad's song to him, I was like, what do you think about this? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. And my mom's listening to it bawling in the background.
Oh.
And she's like, it's perfect. And I was like, all right, thanks, Mom.
So I would
Shannon, before we leave Boys to Men behind, I have to mention that one of my all-time favorite bits from Sonny is
the
like
Boyz
a
II Men.
non-joke.
Yeah.
It's them doing Motown Philly. Like, it's,
Yeah.
and the harmonies and everything.
That's one of my favorite bits. Anytime someone brings up like Boyz II Men or Bone Thugs and Harmony, remember on SNL they had the Bone Thugs and Harmony pet store skit. I just love when people bring it up. And speaking about mothers and songs, I do need to mention this too because I don't know if I think I've told this on the show before. My mom did not like rap music. She didn't dislike rap music. She didn't. I mean, she was older. She grew up in country, so she didn't get the rap music. But my mom loved the Crossroads. Like, she loved that song. We played it at her funeral. She loved it so much. And I never would have guessed that my mom would love rap in any way. So, yeah, moms are awesome. Moms are cool. And loving them, Jesse, is like food for my soul. Okay, I get now that saying I love other people's moms is like food to my soul is creepy in its own way. So, I'm going to back out.
Get this now.
Yeah.
All right. I'm jumping
Stop
back in for round two. Not one that I think anybody here is going to take, but I can't get too deep into this without this name coming up, especially because this was basically all I listened to in high school for a very significant period of time. And I also love listening to the radio with my mom in the car, her specifically, my dad too, but my mom was a real big radio singer and still is, I hear to this day. But boy, she didn't like Eminem. But I did. Look, man, I was a goody two shoes kid in high school. Like, I had straight A's. I was never in trouble for anything. But then you could walk into my home on any given weekend in 99 and 2000, and I shit you not, I would have the Marshall Mathers LP just on repeat, right? I'm playing Perfect Dark, but I'm playing against bots, and I am just slaughtering them by the waves. I looked like the template for a school shooter for a significant period of time there. I had the super short, hair, haircut. It was, especially coming off of a long haircut. I don't know. I just remember at that time, at least once or twice, my mom coming in and saying something to me and me being like, yeah, and her walking out, and I could see out of the corner of my eye that little side eye look of he's okay though, right?
He's a good kid.
I did though. I fucking loved Eminem at that time, and of course, it had nothing to do with any of the horrible, terrible lyrics. It just had everything to do with he's an incredible wordsmith. The beats were awesome because they're by Dre, much like the headphones. Eminem was one of those artists that I just really latched onto early on because he was so different from everything else that was out there, and so. Yeah, none of my other friends were really into Eminem. Nobody else, all my friends were into country music or pop music at that time. And I think that was another thing. I always strived, really, I wanted to be so different from everybody else, and that was my thing. But a lot of it, again, carried through. Today, I can go back and again, lyrically, there are times where I'm like, oh, that's uncomfortable.
I'll skip that lyric.
I'm going to bounce over that one. But I mean, you really can't have a conversation about rap without the rap god. I'm sorry, you just can't.
Well, Hunter, they say he raps like a robot, so
we'll call him rap bot.
We'll call him rap bot.
But for him to rap like a computer, it must be in his jeans. He's got a laptop in his back pocket. I can't do this right now.
I know.
Anyway,
that's okay.
Cody, right now,
all right, Lindsay, you're up.
The song, he paused it.
Well,
He's dancing to it. He's making it up in his head, dancing to it like he did at your wedding.
Right now.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to make it up. Cody knows that whole song.
He knows it. He knows the whole thing.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Even the parts he should forget.
All right, Lindsay, go.
I'm going to the opposite end of the spectrum, and I'm going to take NSYNC.
Oh, I thought she was going to say Willie Nelson.
Man. All right, before you say anything, the longer this had gone, had they not been taken, I was going to say now, my secret love musically in high school Anyway, go ahead.
Now, my introduction to NSYNC, I remember, was one of those free Disney Channel weekends, because it was before my cable company opted it for a regular station, like right in that like beginning range when it was still a premium channel. And they had gotten big into playing music videos for upcoming music groups. And I don't remember whether it was Tearing Up My Heart or I Want You Back, but one of those videos played. I remember really liking it. And then it continued to play like every 3 hours on the channel for the entire weekend, and it just became an earworm. And then the CD dropped about a month later, and I bought it.
Yep. Yeah, that was, I mean, again, there are two key boy bands at that time, and somewhere right now, Nick Lachey is going, there were 98 Degrees too, and I go, there were two key boy bands at that time.
I had NSYNC, and Amanda had Backstreet Boys, so we had both covered on the CDs.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I liked NSYNC a lot. My older brother informed me that meant I was gay and I needed to stop.
What were you planning on telling
in the
Shelby?
90s it did.
Should have told her that for Jesse. If you're going to be sucking some dick later, you need to tell Shelby about it.
I promise you, I won't.
So there is a photo of Chris Kirkpatrick and our high school choir teacher in my junior year yearbook, because before NSYNC was formally formed, Chris Kirkpatrick was from our area, and our teacher, Mr. McConnell, was a private tutor of him. So, like, that was kind of cool, too, to find out. It's like, oh, shit, he was, like, in our area prior to all of this.
That's neat.
Wild.
That's
I
neat.
didn't know that. They're kind of from all over the place. I always forget that. It seems like they were just like fully formed out of the gate there. Okay, Jesse, we're back at the top, which means you end round 2 and you begin round 3.
And then the two that I really wanted here did not get taken. There's only one that I was afraid. But I'm going to start with System of a Down. This is not one I was afraid was going to get picked.
You should have been afraid of it, because that was almost on the list.
Jesse, why do they always send the poor?
Why do they always send the poor?
Why don't presidents fight the war?
I was a huge so I liked System of a Down a lot. I was I needed to rebel against my parents, similar to Shannon. But like I had been thoroughly brainwashed to hate rap, largely because of the area I lived in. My mom was big into country music. My dad was big into classic rock. I legitimately did like the music my dad listened to a lot. So my version of rebelling was just doing more modern rock. And System of a Down was one of the big bands that I got really into. You know, the first time I heard fucking Chop Suey, I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah, fortunately, Avril Lavigne had the same reaction to Chop Suey. And then she did a cover. It's a long story. I'm sorry.
That's fine. But in high school specifically, the Mesmerize album, that stayed in my CD player in my car for an entire year and a half. And my little brother, to this day, has not forgiven me for making him hate System of a Down. Because I wouldn't take the CD out or listen to the radio. We were listening to System of a Down in my car. And then my next pick, this one I actually was afraid that at least Shannon might pick.
Hello.
Linkin Park.
No, Jesse, I'll be honest with you. I did not get into rock like that until when it was in college or after college. Yeah, it was all rap, baby.
Linkin Park was on my short list because I distinctly remember listening to In the End a lot, like my senior year of high school. Guys, I was very emo. Like I really don't know how to tell you this any other way.
In the end, it didn't even matter.
Exactly.
How crazy is that?
I specifically remember going to and from a like friends trip to Six Flags, listening to that on the way there and on the way back, and it was that like please notice me kind of shit. I was real edgy, man. Like oh god, I'm glad I got it out of my system.
I similarly, because I grew up in the same area Hunter did.
That's correct.
And there were not many people that listened to this kind of music. I discovered this like new metal, alt rock, that kind of stuff via Dragon Ball Z AMVs.
Oh, Oh,
Yeah, that is how I discovered. That is how I discovered System of a Down and Linkin Park both. This was back when they were still Hybrid Theory. That was when I discovered Linkin Park in a Vegeta AMV,
which they then just named their first album or their first Linkin Park album.
Yeah, their first album would have originally been a self-titled album, became Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory. I think Crawling was the first song that I ever heard. And suddenly I became this edgy teenager after listening to all this music. It may have started a little bit with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but these Dragon Ball AMVs is definitely how I got really, really into this stuff back when I was a kid. And I wasn't allowed to go out, and I would have looked like the emo goth kid. I mean, goth kid was back when I was in high school. If my parents would have purchased that for me, the closest I could get, my mom did buy me a lot of Jean Co. and she bought me skater shoes. But I didn't live with my mom for the first part of me being in this phase.
This was as close as I think a lot of us in that area could get. You could find the jeans and you could find the tennis shoes, and really past that, there were not a lot of options. If you made a trip to Cape and you spent a couple hours in PacSun, you might come away with one of those beaded metal necklaces, or the one that has you go to Hot Topic and you get the one that has the tribal sign, and so people will ask what tribe you're from, of course.
Generally, they looked at me and asked me to leave politely.
You could go up to Hot Topic. There was nowhere in New Madrid. There was nowhere in Sykeston that you could purchase any of this stuff.
What was the name of that CD store in Sykeston for a while? On Cue. They had a little bit of that, but it was that was not what it was.
Very little apparel. It was just kind of band shirts.
Yeah, you might get a leather cuff or something there.
Right. Hot Topic was the Holy Land, but I was never allowed to, we didn't go up to the big city often, and if we did, we weren't going to the mall.
Guys, I owned so many bowling shirts from Hot Topic. Please stop me. Why am I admitting to all of this right now?
All right, so for the record, the big city when I was growing up in, fucking Mound City was Charleston, Missouri. Yeah, that was the big city for me. If they didn't have it at the Charleston Walmart, I didn't need it.
I mean, in fairness, that,
and you still don't,
and I still don't.
For us, that was Sykeston. I mean, Charleston was also pretty close. Sykeston was going to the city. Cape was going to the big city.
Cape was St. Louis,
and anything past that, St. Louis may as well have been on another planet. That was not even.
And if you grew up in Cape, you thought all of you guys were weird as shit.
We were.
Oh yeah.
Yes, everyone's we were. We went to the city, and we're sitting here.
Shelby, how many times do I have to say the phrase bowling shirt? What do you need from me? I don't know what else I can say. Lindsay, save this and make your next pick, please.
Okay, well, my next pick is the closest that young Lindsay got to rap in R&B, and that would be TLC.
That counts.
Odd enough,
we accept.
Odd enough, my dad is the one who bought me the Crazy Sexy Cool album for my birthday. And I think it was a week afterwards he regretted his decision, because guess who was on the news for burning down her boyfriend's house?
Now, okay, I forget the cover of that album. Did he realize they were black?
Yes, he did. But he also knew my mom and I both liked the waterfalls that were on the album there. So,
wow. Wow.
But yeah, it was funny that my dad was the one who bought me the album. That was not... That was a very surprising birthday gift that year, for sure.
I'm surprised by it. Did he have a second family?
No. No, he does not, nor did he.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Did you name a song?
Song-wise on it, actually... Waterfalls was the one initially, but after listening to it, Case of the Fake People actually kind of became one of my favorite tracks on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
That fits.
Boy, I've got a lot of things still on the table here, and I'm so tempted to pick one that I don't think anybody else will, but I know there's at least a couple others here. Yeah, but I know there's a couple others here that might get taken. Although, I mean, I feel like this is it's such a personal list. You should just take the one that you're pulled to, like the one that it's like, yeah, this is this I distinctly remember meaning a lot to me, and so I should definitely do that. I'm gonna do it, and this is I'm taking Backstreet Boys. I'm doing
Do it. It's okay.
So yeah, again, I alluded to it earlier with NSYNC, and frankly, it was more NSYNC than it was them. But when I was in high school, again, Eminem was like basically my personality. That was a personality trait for me. But the thing is, and I've told you guys this before, I was very musically inclined. I was very musically talented. I went to college for it for a little bit. I did a ton of like state and district competitions. I got medals all at my parents' house for all this stuff. So I couldn't not like a group of dudes who could actually sing, especially when you then want to emulate that same thing, right? And frankly, man, NSYNC was more popular, but Backstreet was more talented. They were. I can
100% agree that.
As a group, especially. Obviously, Justin Timberlake ends up being the big breakout out of all of them, but the Backstreet Boys were more talented as a group overall. And so I was drawn to that in that way. I didn't really care anything about the music videos or like the fame and the personality and all that. It was just the music. So yeah, when we're on the bus on a trip somewhere, I'm definitely flipping in and out of other CDs, but like you sneak the Backstreet one in there, like somebody
when no one's paying attention,
like your Walkman.
You took the Backstreet.
It's all right. How do I kick Shannon out? Hang on.
I really liked them, and they have one of my favorite music videos, legitimately of all time. It's the "We're Back" or "Backstreet's Back" or whatever.
Backstreet's Back, where they're all monsters.
They're the Universal Monster type. Yeah. I love that video. Unironically, yeah.
That one and their larger than life video was really cool too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was looking for the name because I haven't listened to it in a while, but Larger Than Life, I think, was actually my favorite song. It was upbeat. It was catchy. Like the dance was simple enough anybody could learn it. Look, let's just move on.
Did you dance? Did you learn the dance?
Shannon, you're up. No.
All right.
What did I say? What's the correct answer here?
I'm happy for you, or sad that happened.
I ain't reading all of that.
Hey, kids, are you sick of Shannon talking about rap? Well, good news. It's another rap artist.
More rap?
Yes. Tupac Shakur.
I figured he'd be in yours.
I was heavily influenced by Tupac Shakur growing up. To me, he was the smart rapper. Like a lot of rappers, they were good rappers. Yeah, but he was so intelligent and he was so charming and charismatic. Not only as a rapper, but he was also a fantastic actor. He was in Poetic Justice. He was in Gridlocked. He was in a bunch of great movies. Tupac Shakur, to me, is one of the best examples of such a bright star that got, snuffed out. I mean, he had such a future in Hollywood, in the music industry, and it's a shame that he was killed the way that he was. But hey, you know what? 40 years later, we finally arrested somebody. Good job.
I didn't pick up All Eyes on Me until I remember specifically my very first year at college. I for a minute I thought, oh, maybe it was the end of my senior year of high school. No, I distinctly remember listening to that in my dorm room, and I'm pretty sure I bought it while I was in Cape. So he literally just misses the cut for me. But yeah, you can't miss on a list that is in many ways 90s centric with Tupac. Like you just can't.
Yeah, and I have vivid memories of sitting around playing Super Mario Brothers 3 with Jeff, listening to All Eyes on Me just on repeat over and over again. And growing up, when I got older, I grew to like, the previous albums, Tupacalypse Now. I liked Me Against the World. I mean, he had so many good songs. But All Eyes on Me is the album that got me into Tupac originally, and my favorite song from that album is actually Ambitions as a Writer. That was a hot track.
You talk about a beat that won't. Since you said it, I'll be hearing bum 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 in my head for the next 16 hours.
I won't deny it. I'm a straight writer. You don't want to fuck with me.
God, it's so good.
Yeah,
that's right.
So good.
God, it was the best song.
Yeah.
All right, so Shelby, here's what I need you to do. We're rounding out round 3, and then we're starting round 4. So I'm going to briefly recap what we have up to this point. Jesse has chosen Weird Al Yankovic, System of a Down, and Linkin Park. Lindsay has Ace of Base, NSYNC, and TLC. I have Green Day, Eminem, and the Backstreet Boys. Shannon has Bone Thugs and Harmony, Boys to Men, and Tupac Shakur. And Shelby has 10 Years, Radiohead, and...
The Yawns.
And yawns. I should have been watching so I could see that wasn't
She likes
happening.
Yanni?
Yeah. I like Yanni.
Stone Sour is going to be my.
Oh, boy, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, no kidding.
I really love Corey Taylor's voice.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, like, I probably have listened to some of his other stuff a lot more before that, but as soon as I heard it, I was like, yeah, I'm in love with this. I absolutely love this. It's amazing. And Bother is one of my favorite songs.
I got really obsessed with the song Bother when I was in high school or college. I don't remember which. And then when I found out that it was Corey Taylor, like it was the lead singer of fucking Slipknot,
yeah,
I was like, hold up. Hold the fucking phone. This dude can really sing?
I was. That's what shocked me about it. You would never told me that was the same guy. It's such a different feel. It really shows the range of Corey Taylor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is why my round 4 pick is starting with Slipknot.
Oh,
shit, nice.
Oh, doubled up on the Corey Taylor.
Yeah, I really, really like his voice. Some of the newer stuff from Slipknot, I really can't get into, but the older stuff, oh my god. And my favorite song is Vermilion. More part 2 than anything, but part 1 and 2 were both really,
okay,
really good.
so I have a story about Vermilion. Can I tell you that real quick? When I was younger, me and my cousin Ryan, Ari Casper, he does not like when you say his first name, and
I thought you were talking about a different guy.
No, and as we called him then, because I know it's sure as shit he ain't listening to this, Handsome Bob is what we called him at the time, Jack McNeil. me and Chaps, which is Chad Green, and Kaz and Handsome Bob were all sitting around listening to the radio, as you were to do at that time, hanging out in the car, and I called, there was a rock station we had back home called like Mix 96.5. And they played all the hits and everything, right? So I called them and I asked them to play You and Me by is it Blind House? Is that the name of the band?
I thought it was Cassie. It was Cassie, but no, that's Me and You. Sorry, I got it backwards. You're talking about
what? Lifehouse. Is it Lifehouse?
No,
what the fuck is their name?
Yeah, Lifehouse.
Is it Lifehouse? Yeah, Lifehouse. Yep. So I called and asked if they would play You and Me by Lifehouse. I love that song. I'd heard it on the radio. And that motherfucker laughed at me like he had never heard that song before in his life. He said, yeah, we don't play that here, man. And I'm like, I heard it on this station the other day. So Kaz calls right back and says, let me hear Vermilion by Slipknot. And they're like, yeah, bro, we got you right here. Boom, 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 boom. And I was like, you motherfucker. Fuck those guys. Fuck Mix 96.5. Yeah.
Mix was a weird station back in the day, man. Mix is kind of a weird station now, but
because Mix 96.5 was always like, for me growing up anyway, like when I because I didn't live in Cape in the area of Mix 96.5 till I got to high school. That was always like rap, R&B, like
that's how it started.
Music, that kind of stuff.
That's how it started.
Was it? Are you sure it wasn't Mix 104.7 at that time?
You know, it might have been. I might have gotten the radio stations.
I'm pretty sure they migrated from further. Well, it's the same station, but they migrated from further up the dial to a different deal. When Withers bought them, it's a whole thing.
Gotcha. But it was definitely one of those. Those both sound familiar, and I did listen to a lot of Mix 96.5 growing up, and it was rap and R&B. That's where I heard a lot of my favorite rap songs. That's where I heard Keith Sweat's "Twisted" for the first time, and I'm still twisted.
Well, why don't you make your fourth pick and twist it up?
Well, it ain't Keith Sweat. I'll tell you that
much. It's probably not Twista.
No, although he was really good. Both of them are really good.
He's good.
No, look, when you're I would love to give you like some obscure bands because I would like to be that guy. But unfortunately, when I was growing up, there was no internet. There weren't CDs. The car had just been invented. So you listened.
You were cranking the engine.
You listened to what was popular.
And get it going.
So another band or another artist that I grew up listening to and just played on repeat was motherfucking Snoop D-O Double G.
Yeah.
The Snoop Dogg. Started out on
Rest
Dr. Dre.
He's giving up the weed.
Well, it's because he's taking edibles. Eating Peace King. Eating
That's
power.
right.
The smoking aspect.
Yeah. I first heard him on Dr. Dre's album, The Chronic, and I loved him on that. Then he came out with his own album, Doggy Style, which, oh my God, was a revelation for young Shannon. I played that all the time. To my parents' regret. They learned not to buy me CDs anymore for that reason. And for the record, I used to have to get my CDs from Walmart. If you ever got CDs from Walmart back in the day, I had the censored version.
Useless. Useless. You could get nothing out of them.
No, but Snoop Dogg, not just that album. He did the Dogfather right after that. And I think in like 97 or 98. I was still in high school at the time. And the Dogfather, even though it didn't have Dr. Dre doing the beats, it was still a really good album. After that, I don't think he ever made another song. I think Snoop retired after that and started working with Martha Stewart. No, actually, Snoop after that, if you don't remember the history of Snoop Doggy Dogg, not long after, he joined No Limit Records, where he sucked. Because No Limit Records sucked. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what Cody says. But
to make you feel better about this, I wrote on the list Snoop Dogg, and then as you were talking, I went, no, that's not who he's picking, and I changed it to Snoop Doggy Dogg.
Snoop Doggy Dogg.
Because that's who you're picking.
Yes.
It's not the same guy.
It's not the same guy. He's not Snoop Lyin or Santa Snoop or whatever he goes by. It was Snoop Doggy Dogg. And the best song is and always will be Who Am I? What's my motherfucking name?
Yeah, that's a good choice. That is correct.
It is correct. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Oh man, I have so many choices left. I find myself right back where I was at the previous round. Do I pick something that people are going to be more interested in? Do I pick something that means more to me? I definitely see one here that I feel like fits the bill for both, especially for me, the 90s. Like literally, I'm born in 85, so I get cognizant of music around 90. I'm in high school up until 2003, so there's a very little overlap in the early 2000s. And one of the biggest bands from that era in a genre that I haven't really touched yet, that's something I'm also trying to do. I'm trying to diversify my portfolio here, would be good old Adam Duritz and Counting Crows. I thought I was the smartest, just most elevated music fan because I liked Counting Crows and nobody else I knew liked Counting Crows. Mrs. Jones was one of theirs, but that's pop shit. We don't talk about that.
Is that the one that goes like
Counting Crows.
Mrs. Jones?
Mr. Jones.
No, not my house.
Now I'll say this much for singles. Long December is still and will always be one of my favorite songs. A Long December. I don't know why, because it is so fucking emotional, and I don't even know why it's so emotional to me. I've never experienced any of the things that happen in that song. But I remember a couple of years ago, it came up. It very rarely comes up on my playlist and stuff now, but it came up on my playlist. I was in line in the drive-thru at Subway, and I'm just ugly crying. Like, this is hitting me in a way that I did not anticipate.
Those Subway workers did not deserve that.
Fortunately, I got it under control by the time I got to the window.
Okay.
Especially because some of my coworkers work there, if you know what I'm talking about. That would have been very difficult to explain the next day. You all right, man? Yeah, I was just listening to the Counting Crows.
Oh, I'm breaking down. Hold on. Just give me a minute.
Yeah, I very much look. I've talked about it before. I grew up on Boy Meets World, especially on watching it, not on the show. Boy, I wish I'd been on the show. And Sean Hunter just becomes a role model at some point in time if you're at the right age watching that show. This was a guy who was the living embodiment of the music of the Counting Crows, and so yeah, I thought I was very intelligent for that. I still think I am, but not necessarily for that reason. But I'm putting him on the list that gives me a little bit of, I don't want to call it soft rock, but like something that's not Green Day. It's very different from that. Lindsay, go.
This go around, I'm taking No Doubt. Because Tragic Kingdom is a good fabulous album.
God
damn, and I was obsessed with the song Spiderwebs. Like, the first time I heard that on the radio, I made sure I had a blank cassette tape in my player for next Sunday's top 40. I'm like, I'm getting the damn song.
Now, I wanted desperately to put No Doubt on my list, but I did not get into No Doubt until after I got into Gwen Stefani as a solo artist with her Love Angel Music Baby album. Then I went back to No Doubt. Yeah, so
my mom was weirdly into No Doubt.
Mine too.
No doubt.
What was that? Yeah,
I don't know. My mom was big into country music. Like, country music was her jam, and then fucking No Doubt.
She probably heard "Don't Speak" on the radio for as much as it played, and it just clicks.
Yeah, if I was in the car with my mom for a significant period of time, it would flip from country sometimes to like pop stations, and she liked Spiderweb, she liked Don't Speak, and so that was my whole access to No Doubt at that point in time. I wouldn't say I was really into them, and that's probably why I didn't think they weren't on my short list. And when Lindsay said that, it was like shit, I can't believe I didn't have them on there somewhere. That's probably why. But man, what a good pull from that era.
And
Absolutely.
somehow Gwen Stefani looks younger now than she did when she put those
Shannon,
albums
let me
out.
help you with that. It's called money. Money does that to you.
That's why I'm ugly.
Right. When you get more of it, you're capable of pulling that off.
I gotta get some money. First you get the money, then
We
you get the
all
power,
do.
then you get the women.
Then you get younger somehow.
This is the key to immortality.
It really is. All right, Jesse, so here's the deal. We're back at the top of the list. You are making your final picks because this is the end of round 4 and the beginning of round 5.
Yeah. I didn't have to hit my short list at all here. I'm going to finish out the 4 pillars of high school Jesse right now. Starting with Disturbed.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesse, we know you're disturbed. What's the group you're picking?
She made it funny.
She did. It was good. That was good. Disturbed is. That was another one that I just wore out several of their CDs. I had them going on repeat. Like if we were road tripping somewhere, I probably had a Disturbed CD. Like I got into them before I got into System of a Down. System of a Down, I mostly liked the hits until Mesmerize hit. Disturbed, like I could listen to their first 3 albums like front to back, no problem. And goddamn, I love that band. Anytime like I was angry, like I would listen to Disturbed to calm down because I could get out some of that rage. Because that's how my brain
just
works.
Punch dancing in his bedroom, just like I can see it.
Four.
And I mean, I guess the first one. This is another one that I found via Dragon Ball AMVs, and the first one I found was Stupefy. So probably
Sensing a
that
theme.
one. That was the big one. And then rounding out the 4 pillars of super edgy high school Jesse. Again, remember this is a kid with shaggy hair, jean coat jeans.
I remember him.
Edgy ass t-shirts, skater shoes. Korn was the 4th group. Yeah. Real big into Korn.
I really liked their song on the Nightmare Revisited album, the Kidnap the Sandy Claus. That's
but yeah, no, their take on it was
ridiculously
hard.
good. Yeah, I love that song.
Yeah. I was like, there's a lot of Korn that I really, really, really liked back in the day. Freak on a Leash was really big, really good.
And Jesse broke. He likes it so much.
Jesse loved Korn back in the day.
I'm trying to think of like the song to pick, and I think I'm going to go with Right Now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what's your pick?
That one was a great. Do what?
You said you're going to pick Right Now. What's your pick?
Damn it. The song is titled Right Now. If you guys want to watch some like disturbing ass shit, check out the music video for Right Now.
No, you already picked Disturbed. We got to talk about Korn now.
He's getting hammered.
This is good. This is great content.
We're just who's on firsting Jesse right now.
Makes it so easy.
It's just bouncing around.
The music video for Right Now is like it's animated, and it
Will
is.
it change?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
He's just wandering through a minefield and stepping on every rake in existence.
When Jesse,
There's no path with no rakes.
Hunter, every time he says Right Now, every time he says Right Now, Hunter,
Right Now, like
all I can hear is that fucking song where she goes, Right Now. He's because can't see
See, all
whiskey.
I'm hearing is Van Halen.
Wow, how
right
embarrassing.
all right. Well, let's please move on to Lindsay so that I can stop walking and stepping on
I
fucking
gotta
rain.
stop laughing first.
This is the plight of being the end of or being in the very first one, because your list is done and now you get to deal with this shit. Oh,
Also,
all
there's
right,
the
Lindsay.
music video for that song that I just mentioned.
Oh, I remember this.
Please
yeah,
enjoy.
yeah. He's
It
not going to
is-
say the name of it again.
Oh my god.
When would you like us to listen to it?
Eventually.
That's the sequel. That's the sequel song.
Oh man! All right, Lindsay, your final pick. Go.
I'm a little torn on what I want to do because, like, my
Oh,
gut
Natalie
tells me to
Imbruglia?
do one
Natalie
thing.
Imbruglia, yeah.
No,
Perfect
no.
Sky
I
Storm.
can't.
I knew that was coming, but no. I think I'm gonna stick with an early Lindsay pick, seeing that I grew up in the true boy band era, and I'm gonna end things with New Kids on the Block.
Oh, I thought she was going to say Hanson. Thank God.
No, never. No,
Not
New
the
Kids
way
on the
to
Block
victory.
was my first true boy band obsession between my cousins, which is funny because I was like a first and second grader when I became initially obsessed with them. So, but like I still have the first cassette, and then I had a couple of the dolls. I'm pretty sure I still have one of their interview cassettes that came with the dolls. And then the girl down the road from me, her bedroom was completely decked out. So if she wasn't playing Boys to Men, it was New Kids on the Block that was getting played when we were at her house.
Man. Yeah, I because I kind of missed that whole era. I often just straight up forget about New Kids on the Block. Like, I remember them being referenced a lot in other things, but as a real legitimate band with songs, I'm like, oh yeah, they did like do stuff, didn't they? They were actually there.
Hanging Tough. So my favorite of them.
Oh, they were so hanging tough.
Oh, they
All
were
right.
I'm
so
pretty sure I
tough.
still have one of their comic books somewhere too, now that I'm thinking about it.
You're gonna want to give that a read soon.
So tough.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. I guarantee you I drew it off.
God, I have I have way more options than I should at this point in time. I'm looking at this list and I'm like, my cousin Ben introduced me to Smashing Pumpkins when I was younger, but I can't really legitimately say that I was super into them. I can't act like I didn't love Limp Bizkit when I was in high school. Like that was definitely a thing. Oh man, this is so tough. I'm looking at my list and I'm seeing a lot of varied stuff here. I mean, but there's a definitive lack of like, well, no, I've definitely done that too. God, this is tough. You know what I really want to do, and I'm not going to do it? I want to put Stevie Ray Vaughan on this list because that's who my dad introduced me to, and he was very much one of my favorite artists. Like as I got a little older, but it's right on the cusp of what we're talking about here. I didn't really appreciate him until I was out of college. So, all right, I'm going to take. Fuck it, I'm going to take The Offspring. The Offspring.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no!
Finally, something has been picked off my short list.
Oh no!
Oh no!
That was literally
So I
my
didn't see
number.
that coming. Shelby, was it like all you have? Or are you going to have to come up with something else?
No, I got more.
Oh,
Okay, I was going to
she
say, I'm
sounds
willing
so
to
sad.
legitimately rescind it. I'm willing to rescind it because I have a couple others here. And this is going to sound weird, but it was very close between The Offspring and Blues Traveler. I was very into Blues Traveler in the mid-90s, and it's just two songs.
A lot of people were,
It's just
yeah.
hook and run around. That's it. I think that's the whole reason I went away from that, because The Offspring was a band that I got into when I was in high school and then continued to carry on from there. Conspiracy of One was not their best album, but I'll be damned if it didn't stay in my 3 CD wall mounted changer for the better part of like 2 years. Thanks, Crazy Taxi. That's that'll do it. That's what gets you into The Offspring at that era. But God, I love those guys. And frankly, I can still. What's that?
My mom got me hooked on them.
No shit.
Yep.
That's a whole story, I feel
She
like.
actually was the reason that I even started listening to them in the first place, because she gave me my first CD that wasn't a country CD, because my dad would only allow me to buy those until I was a certain age. And it was The Offspring, The Greatest Hits. So it was a range of all their different albums, and I got to kind of like hear a little bit of everything, and from there I went and found what I wanted to, because at that point I think it was LimeWire was very popular.
Oh
This
yeah.
was one of the OGs.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was like, I'm gonna use this a lot. and I'm gonna find everything else.
That's
Go ahead, Jesse. I'm still
Morpheus.
looking at something here.
I don't know. Morpheus was the one that we used to get all the AMVs back in the day. That was because those was
I remember
era.
Morpheus. Yeah.
And Morpheus,
I don't even remember what I used.
Napster was
don't forget about
only
Bear
song,
Share.
though. Well,
Bear Share was out there.
I
I
think
know
Bob
at
was
one
a part
point
of
I
that
used
one.
Kazaa.
Kazaa, yeah.
Kazaa.
Because I want to say it went like the big ones were like Napster, and then Morpheus, then Kazaa, and then
LimeWire.
Yeah.
I think that was the order.
And then there was another
yeah.
one that was like LimeWire, or it's what LimeWire turned into after it got.
Well, and then it came out with Pirate Bay, and Pirate Bay was huge until, all the child porn.
So it became one of those things like torrenting, like was like everybody in the know from what I understand at this point, everybody in the know back in like the late 90s, early 2000s started torrenting. And because that was the original peer-to-peer. And it wasn't until, all those sites went down that everybody's like, oh, wait, this is way better. And we don't have to worry about like this one thing being up.
For what it's worth, before I move totally away from this, it's very hard to pick a single Offspring song because I feel like you need to listen to like 3 of them in a row because it's so varied. You're going to go from like, Pretty Fly to Kids Aren't All Right to Come Out and Play. I think at the end of the day, it's probably Come Out and Play or Self-Esteem. Just like real classic stuff. They're both great. But yeah, they have such a weird range for being ostensibly, again, pop punk, like and more punk than pop.
Is the Offspring the ones that did that? Was that Show Me How You're Getting Better All the Time?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is that song?
That's one of their more recent releases.
Oh, is it? Okay.
You're gonna go far, kid.
You're gonna go far, kid. I love that song. I love that song. Yeah,
That's
that's
a very, very good song.
It is. All right, so that's me, which means Shannon, this is your last
shit.
pick.
All right. Well, hey, Jesse, do you like the rap music?
I do now. I do.
Well, I got bad news for you because my last pick's not rap music. This is the curveball that Mr. 100's gonna throw you, because when I wasn't listening to the rap music before, I had a weird time period after rap, but before rock and roll, where I listened to, you guessed it, J-Rock.
Is it gonna be Gack? Or are you and Malice Miser?
I'm gonna disconnect Lindsay every time. Every fucking time.
Every time.
I have something I'm going to say. She goes, oh, is it this? Yeah, it's that. Yeah, you know it's that. Yeah, it's Gacked.
He's such a pretty man.
Gacked, if you don't know who he is, and you don't, was in a band called Malice Miser. And I did like Malice Miser a lot, but I liked Malice Miser, but I loved Gacked more. And he is, not only is he a really good artist, he's also really kind of an innovator in not just fashion, but in video games. The look that he had they based Squall Leonhardt in Final Fantasy VIII off of him and one of his looks. Not only that, but he, for his song Miserable, which is my favorite song by Gacked, he dresses up as Alucard from Symphony of the Night, or they ripped it off. I don't remember which one's which, but it's exact copy. They based a character in Final Fantasy Dirge of Cerberus on him. I forget what the character's name was, but yeah, I mean, this dude was all over the place. So I absolutely loved Gacked. I don't know whether my parents preferred I listened to the rap music. They were really happy when I finally switched over to rock, but that weird period where I was so into Japanese bands, Duran Gray, Gacked, Malice Miser. What was that one, Lindsay, you liked?
Did that line up with your obsession?
Cycle of Sem's the one I got to hear at the convention that we were at. I like, Vice Croix, and then later, there's one of the ones that did a lot of like Full Metal Alchemist stuff, and I'm totally blanking on their freaking name.
Well, while you look that up,
L'Arc and Ciel.
Yeah, I never know how to pronounce something you're talking about. What'd you say, Jesse? I'm curious.
I was gonna say, did that coincidentally line up with your Sailor Moon, Cowboy Bebop, etc.?
When I got into anime, the anime and the J-Rock era were very close to each other. I eventually left both of them, but I don't.
Which came first? Was it the J-Rock or was it the Sailor Moon?
J-Rock. because then I discovered bands like Linkin Park and Green Day and stuff like that, and I really fell in love with that music. So I kind of stopped listening to the J-Rock on that. But they a lot of those bands actually did pretty well for themselves in the United States. During Gray specifically, I remember had a couple big hits in the United States a couple years ago. They used to play it on TV. It's kind of like Rammstein or whatever their name was when you get those foreign influences in.
Yeah.
I forgot about fucking Rammstein.
Oh, good. Because they were terrible.
And so was ICP.
Oh my god, I hated Rammstein.
I fucking love Rammstein.
Well, too bad. Your list is over.
Oh, yeah.
Shannon, I am shocked that you didn't pick Dr. Dre. I just assumed it was coming at this point.
Yeah.
Dude, I have look, I already had Tupac and Snoop Dogg. I might as well just said Death Row Records at that point. I could have just roped them all in.
It's true. It's true.
I had to do a combo breaker, yeah.
All right, Shelby, you have the final pick of the whole game. What are you going to do?
And it ain't The Offspring.
Don't make it worse.
It's gonna be good, Charlotte.
Oh, that's a good choice.
This is the anthem. Yeah.
Shannon, I was gonna hit you with a "Will you stop?"
It was one of my friends. It was the Young and the Hopeless album. Actually, was what got me into it, and I think that's an album from 2002. So it's a pretty old one, but.
There was
they had some older ones, but that was the one that got me really hooked on them.
I never really got into Charlotte. Like there's like
the name of the
songs that I kind of like from them because like that got more into like I never got into a lot of the emo stuff.
Is it Bloody Valentine? Is that what you're talking
about? Is that me? Oh, sorry. I'm looking. So all I was gonna say was there was I remember. Like right before these guys got big, I got from some send away thing because that's what you did in the late 90s and early 2000s. You sent away and you got stuff, and it was some giveaway thing. I got a compilation CD because that's the other thing you got was like, here's a mixtape that we made.
Now that's what I call music, yeah.
Right, but this wasn't like we're putting it on CD shelf or on store shelves. It was before that. It was when you were kind of like, hey, start trying to enjoy it. Because I remember that Nelly Furtado was on this too, and she was like totally unknown at that point in time. But there was a song of Good Charlotte's on there, and I remember I really liked it. And then they came out, and I liked them. Oh, it was called Little Things. I remember this. Yeah, it was like one of their first big songs. It was called Little Things. And I freaking loved it. And I got their first CD, and I was kind of into them, but I never liked anything more than that song for some reason.
Shelby, I also really liked Good Charlotte. I was big into Good Charlotte back then. Now I feel cringy whenever I go, this is the anthem, throw behind your hands. So it's, damn.
You can say it with us, and we're all like, yeah, that's some good music.
I'll tell you one, I'm shocked Lindsay didn't put on her list, is A Simple Plan.
I didn't get into them until college.
Damn, I hated that fucking band.
Oh, easy.
As funny as it is, I discovered them through my little brother because one of his friends showed it to him.
Look, I still
I'm with Jesse on this. They were terrible.
It's extremely impressive that he learned how to sing through his nose.
No.
Yes.
No.
That's very impressive.
Because I swear to God, look,
everyone has to have like that one thing they do that no one else is allowed to. Well, not allowed.
You get any group of people together at any point, and you start going song like "Hey, Dad." Everyone starts singing.
Just because it's recognizable doesn't mean it's good.
Everyone's having a good time. Everyone's having a good time.
I mean, Hitler had some good ideas, I'm told.
Well, Bin Laden was right. It turns out.
Shannon, you're also like 4 octaves too low on that. Like you really have to get the nose involved. Like,
okay, you sound like Meatwad.
I always really equated, I don't know why, but those guys and fucking Hawthorne Heights, man, just put a bullet in my brain.
Okay, hey, I like Hawthorne Heights.
This is also terrible.
I like Hawthorne Heights. I like Hawthorne Heights. I can't lie.
So before we recap it all,
in my ear for 5 minutes. Like,
it's called love.
I am for anyone from that was picking from the 90s. I am a little shocked no one picked Blink-182.
Didn't listen to him until after college.
I failed at getting a job at Hot Topic in high school because I said I didn't like Blink-182, and the woman happened to be wearing a Blink-182 hoodie, and I wasn't paying attention.
No! Oh,
You
that's the
showed
most
them
90s
though.
shit I've ever
You showed
heard.
them though.
Yeah,
No,
I was
Ariel